Hey guys, as you can see, it is a cold, miserable night here in New York. We're talking like single digit temperatures, 20-30 mile an hour winds, some blowing snow. It's not pretty. So I've been out this weekend. It's the last weekend of hunting season, so I wanted to talk real quick about extreme cold weather and extreme bad weather, and just how to dress and how to make it through. And part of survival is being prepared and being prepared for cold weather. And there's pretty much only a couple basics to dressing for the cold weather, and it's number one, material, number two, layering, and number three is how you actually layer them. Putting up your first layer is usually your easiest. Now what I typically do is I start with a sport sock, something synthetic material, nylon, polyester, wicking. These here, what I have here is just a real simple pair of Under Armour like heat gear socks. They're tight fitting to the skin, they're stretchy, and they wick very well. Now that's going to go under your long johns. So you're going to want to put your socks on first because you want these to be over top of them, but you also don't want them scrunched down. So I find the easiest way to set up your first layer is to put on your socks first, then your long johns. Your first layer of long johns also should be very tight fitting, a synthetic material, something polyester, nylon, maybe polypropylene or fleece or whatever, but you want it to be tight fitting so that it wicks moisture away from your skin. Now the shirt, of course, you want tucked into the long johns, as you see as I have it here. And some other things to kind of note that are very helpful when it comes to a top layer is you also want it to be, just like the other parts, you want it to be a synthetic material, tight fitting so that it wicks well. But also I prefer to have something with a tight sleeve. As you can see, these have kind of a spandex sleeve to them, which makes it so that they fit tightly on your wrist, and this will help dramatically reduce any drafts or snow that you have coming into your sleeve. And it gives you a good way to tuck in, if you are using a liner glove, to tuck that in underneath that and to create a good seal between you and the outside environment. You'll also see one of the important things I do with my base layer is this has a it's kind of one of those fake turtlenecks, a partial turtleneck. It's very tight on the neck and goes up a little bit. Very important, once again, for keeping out drafts. You want everything to have a tight fit on the bottom layer and to be synthetic wicking, something that will... Basically, the function of this layer is to keep you dry and to keep drafts and cold air from being able to touch your body. So everything, you know, the best bottom layer is going to have a tight neck, tight sleeves, tight fit all around. And another good tip, guys, if you buy your shirt in extra long or extra tall, that way you can tuck it in and you have a lot of room to tuck it in. That way it's not coming untucked every time you bend over. Now your next layer, the second layer, gets a little tricky. It's not as easy to put on, and you have a little more flexibility though in what you use for materials. Your second layer is your insulating layers. You want materials that are bigger, have more dead air space to them. Now, depending on what temperatures you're going to be in, you may want something thinner, like, for example, this kind of polypropylene workout pair of pants. I think they're, I forgot what brand, but they're like a Reebok or something like that from like a discounter. Now you're going to put that on next, first part of your second layer. Now, of course, you know, if you want to do something heavier, you can do a fleece. Typically, this layer doesn't have to be skin tight. You can let this be a little looser, let it capture a little bit of dead air space. Now, from there, after your second layer of on the bottom is on, is when you're going to add your second layer of sock. And that is going to go over top, and you're going to tuck in whatever that second layer is into that sock. So now you have a sock. So we'll kind of show you here. Just so you can kind of see this. So what you're going to have, you have to imagine this, is pants tucked into a sock over top of sock tucked into pants. So you're basically doing the opposite. Sock, pants, pants, sock. Now what that does is kind of create almost like a maze effect so that any cold air or drafts or snow or moisture has to go down your sock, then go back up your pants, and then back down and up. So you want to create like an alternating pattern with your outfit to make it so that drafts and all that will not basically find a way in. Now, from there, of course, you're going to add your top, which is going to go just same as the other one. It's going to go the opposite. Instead of tucking in, you're going to leave this layer out. Now, you can tuck it in if you want, but I prefer to leave this layer out because it creates once again, it has to go up, then down kind of effect, rather than having a down that goes straight, So, what we have here is a military surplus, extreme cold weather system polypropylene top. Get this sucker maybe a size bigger than what you would normally wear. That way it's a little bulky, traps some more dead air space. What I like, these are thick, they're polypropylene, so even though they're synthetic, they're very thick. And this one here is a size bigger than what I would normally wear, so it's a little kind of bulky on me. They have very thick padded sleeves, which are good, and they're very tight, so these fit very they fit snug right up against your arm. Now you can see the top there. This is a quarter zip. Now I really always try and make this layer quarter zip, and why I do that is because it's good for venting. If you do get too hot, that's the most efficient way to vent your body at that point, is to open that up, let the cool air in. Now that, when it zips up, as you can see, has a very high neck, so that actually will help protect your neck as well and keep out cold drafts. If you're going to wear a neck gaiter, I would put the neck gaiter on under this so that you have a neck gaiter and then that over top of it to create that overlapping effect. Now let's get into some preference things with myself. I prefer not to go over 2 layers of socks. I think when you get up into 3 layers, you tend to get a little more movement and a little more rubbing with your boots, and I think it can cause blisters. Moisture tends to get trapped a little better. I'd like to keep it to 2 layers, but if 3 works for you, maybe 3 thinner layers of socks might be a good idea. But once again, it's a matter of how cold is it, and how thick are your boots and all that. You need to consider all that when you're putting it together. But I highly recommend just 2 layers. Now, other things. Now I know lots of times stuff can get expensive, but this right here is actually a very thin polyester hooded sweatshirt made by like one of those companies that makes like basketball gear. I got that for like $8 at a discounter, and it works great as a middle layer for warmer days. Say you are in the 20s or 30s, or you just want a cooler layer for the middle. Something like this, a workout outfit, can go in actually quite well, and they're rather inexpensive. Likewise, another thing that cost me about $10. This is a full zip Old Navy kind of workout jacket, a cool weather workout jacket. It's got like a fleece lining around the neck, which I really like. It's a very tight fitting neck, fleece lining to help keep out drafts and snow, but it's also full zip. If you want to replace this layer with something full zip, it's actually very convenient if you're going to be doing taking layers on and off. So maybe you're snowshoeing and you're going to have to be taking layers on and off frequently throughout the day. You may want to opt with a full zip as opposed to the quarter zip. It will make your layering a lot easier. Alright, we're going to move on to the third and final layer, which is your waterproof layer. Now, waterproof pants are always very difficult to find. This here is a pair of hunting pants. They were like 29 bucks. It's very difficult to find good waterproof pants on a budget, but one thing you can do is look after the ski season, and you can pick up used waterproof ski pants for pretty cheap. I've picked them up some of the bibs in the past, which the bibs are very handy because they have the shoulder straps, and they cover up the chest, and they do help quite a bit in controlling drafts and all that. So if you can find some good ski gear, they do make good waterproof layers, and they do, you know, the camo thing's in right now, so you can actually find good ski gear in camo, urban camo, you know, black, white, you name it. So if you want to make like a snow camo outfit, you know, ski stuff and a little spray paint, you're good. As I said, your last layer is your waterproof layer. Once again, go bigger, go with the size bigger. You're going to be wearing anywhere from 2 to 3 layers underneath this layer. You may opt for a long john and 2 insulating layers, especially if you're going to be in temperatures maybe -10, -20, extreme cold weather, like you might see up in the Adirondack Mountains. You might want 3 or 4 layers. That way you do have the ability to stop and take a layer or 2 off if you do get hot or cold. You know, that way you can control your temperature. And real easy way for your outer shell, and this is where a lot of people get caught up spending a lot of money. That right there is a $10 rain jacket. It's a cheap, no-name rain jacket I picked up at like a discounter, like Marshall's or TJ Maxx or something like that. It was out of season. Picked it up in the winter. It was like $9.99. Got it a size bigger than what I wanted. And what I like about it is it's waterproof, number one, but it's also very breathable. So when you're wearing all this gear under it, something breathable is very nice. The bottom has a draw strap, so it is a little loose for me, so I can bring in that draw strap and tighten it up quite a bit. As you can see, the sleeves are tight fitting. It's very important for your outer layer. You don't want snow and things like that getting up in there. You want something that's going to be snug. Likewise, for your hood, you want something that's going to be, it doesn't need to be hooded, but you want something that's going to zip up snug to your neck and have, this one here has, of course, drawstrings, so you can tighten it and adjust it to your body and make sure that there are not drafts or any of that coming in. Now, you don't have to use a raincoat. You can use any kind of a shell of a multi-layer jacket. You can use a Gore-Tex military surplus jacket. Even a poncho will work, guys. A poncho is actually a pretty decent way to keep warm too, because they're not very breathable, so they really trap in the heat good, but it's all really up to you. But when it comes to extreme cold weather, that outer layer must be waterproof. It needs to keep all that moisture that's going to be in the air from the cold weather off of you. You know, it's cold, it's snowy, there's going to be snow in the trees, it's going to be falling down on you, it's going to be coming up at you, it's going to be blowing sideways. You want to make sure that all of your areas are protected and that everything's tucked in properly. Now, the order I've shown you is a great way to do it because it will keep drafts from happening and from incidents where, like, you bend over and then your shirt comes untucked. Once again, guys, don't be afraid to get a size bigger and an extra tall. The extra talls give you that extra length to tuck in the shirts. And as you go, you know, start with very tight, work out to very loose. It's kind of a pain in the neck, but if you get the different sizes, it will really help you match up the different layers and wear them accordingly. If you get everything the same size, you're going to put all this stuff on and you're going to have a really tight outer layer, really loose under layer. You don't want that. You want tightest to loosest, lots of dead air trapped in there. Alright, and the last thing we're going to talk about is accessories, hats, gloves, all that stuff. You know, guys, I don't recommend doubling up on hats. Get yourself a hat. You know, you can get a waterproof hat, you can get a wool hat, you can get just a simple acrylic blaze orange hat, camo hat for a couple dollars after hunting season's over. Very simple. You want to make sure it's going to protect your ears and your head, and if need be, you know, like I said, guys, get something that is waterproof. Now, gloves, you want to layer as well. Now, depending on what you have available to you, you might be able to get a lot of military surplus gloves. I prefer wearing a thinner, this is like a polypropylene glove, and then wearing something over it. Now, you can wear pretty much anything you want. You can wear anything from like these convertible mittens with the fingers, so you don't have to take your gloves off. You need your fingers. Here is a Gore-Tex ski glove I got for really cheap at the end of the season. You name it, you wear it. But remember, guys, if you layer up, you will do better. They do make different layers of gloves. You can get the small kind of spandex layer. You can get a fleece middle layer, and then I know there are the military surplus over gloves that are waterproof, like glove covers. You can get them online. You can get them at Army Navy stores. They're really good for having a good waterproof kind of mitten cover. But you don't have to. If you just want one layer, you can go with the Gore-Tex. But you know, if you get them wet, you're in trouble. So I like to layer up, and of course having a 3-layer system with a wicking, an insulator, and a waterproof is best. Another great accessory for cold weather are these tactical scarves. These make really good scarves, and you can also use them as another insulating way. Wrap it around your neck if you have a loose seam. You can put it in your jacket if you have, say, a cold spot. You know, you're feeling the breeze on your back or something. You can wad that up and put it in your back to keep the you know, your layers from getting compressed and colder. Great item to have. They're actually pretty big, and they're pretty handy. You can use a regular oversized bandana or a bandana, but it's a great way to keep your face covered and to keep that cold air off your face. You want to try and cover as much of your skin as possible. And in extreme cold weather, you don't want any of your skin showing for even the slightest bit of time, which is why often I wear a thin glove under a thicker glove. That way I can, if I do have to take that thicker glove off, I do have an underglove that will keep my hand from being exposed. When it comes to staying long term in extreme cold weather, I'm talking -20, -30. You're staying a night or 2 nights or even, you know, a weekend in the Adirondacks. You need to conserve every bit of heat that you can generate with your body. You can't lose it. You can't afford every time you have to go to the bathroom to expose your hands to the cold and be freezing cold again. With all that said, you know, you can really experiment with what you like, and the best thing to do is to experiment. I know there's a lot of full zip fleece pants that zip down the side that are really good for using as middle layers. Bibs are a great option. You know, like I said, they do keep you from having that exposed plumber's crack, you know, when you bend over. And, you know, just best thing I can tell you guys is get out to military surplus stores and go to discounters and retailers that sell off-season stuff and look for great deals, because that's how you find good cold weather gear for cheap. Because it doesn't have to be hunting clothing, it doesn't have to be sports clothing. You can repurpose almost anything from workout clothing to even you know, like Carhartt kind of stuff, and be very successful in the extreme cold with it.